After successfully redeeming the obsessive, unstable villainess, I hugged her before leaving and told her I wanted to get married. But Shen Buyu said nothing, neither agreeing nor refusing. Then she turned and walked out. While she was gone, I decisively faked my death and returned to my original world. But then, before I had even warmed my chair, I heard a warning. Romance mission failed. Return immediately to fix it. And right after that, the very next second, I was back in the novel's world. But since I faked my death and left, 7 years had passed. Shen Buyu had long since become a powerful figure who ruled the city. At that moment, she had just ordered her bodyguards to throw a man who looked 90% like me to the ground. How bold of you. You actually dared to wear his face and come marry me. Don't you know the person I hate most in this life is him? After the world spun around me, I appeared in the most luxurious hotel in the novel's world. The place had been decorated for a wedding banquet. The sign by the entrance clearly read, Bride, Shen Buyu, Groom, and Lan. Seeing the names, I clutched my chest. System, you're so cruel, making me watch my ex-girlfriend marry another man. Come on. I only got home a day ago. I haven't even recovered from that sudden breakup. The system completely ignored me. Someone's offering you food. So I turned around and met the hostess's gaze. My expression changed instantly. I smiled and accepted the wedding candy bag she offered. Oh, what a huge piece of hazelnut chocolate. Host, Shen Buyu really listened to you. You said back then that the wedding candy had to be hazelnut chocolate because you didn't like other candies. She really remembered that. I shoved the wedding candy into my mouth and waved dismissively. Damn system, shut up. You're ruining my mood. I felt the chocolate melt in my mouth and thought, Shen Buyu must have put salt in the chocolate. Otherwise, why would it taste so sweet and salty? The little old lady sitting beside me interrupted my wild thoughts. Oh my, young men these days are so empathetic. Why are you crying from excitement? After glancing at the ring on my hand, she beamed. Pay close attention to the ceremony. A happy occasion like this will be your turn soon. I wanted to say, Grandma, that happy occasion won't be my turn. Isn't the person I love about to marry someone else? At that thought, I couldn't hold it in. I covered my face and ran to the restroom to cry. I even carefully controlled how long I cried, so my eyes wouldn't swell and hurt from crying too long. 10 minutes later, I pulled out the tissues I carried with me and began wiping my face in the mirror. Host, you're unbelievably disciplined. No wonder. Among more than 100 people, you're the only one who successfully redeemed Shen Buyu. You'd better explain yourself. Why did I clearly succeed in redeeming her, yet still fail the romance mission? Didn't you say it yourself? Redemption succeeded. Romance mission failed. How does that make sense? Wasn't I good to her? That's what you get for rejecting her before you left. The moment you said you wanted to marry her, she went out to choose a ring. But on the way there, she heard that you had died. I even told you to choose a less ridiculous way to fake your death and stop being so absurd. But you said you like bad endings. When I returned to the wedding venue, it was already a complete mess. The guests had all left. The groom and Lan stood before Shen Buyu. His expression was far from pleasant. Shen Buyu stood on the other side, her face equally cold. You really are bold. You even dared to come here wearing that face. Don't you know the person I hate most in this life is Fang's you? The scene was too chaotic. I was so frightened that I quickly crouched under a table and peeked outside, only to see, and Lan's face was bright red, waving his arms wildly. Fang's you. I am Fang's you. Shen Buyu. You clearly promised my mother that you would marry me. So, why humiliate me in front of everyone today? Shen Buyu let out a cold laugh. She couldn't even be bothered to look at him. A few seconds later, two bodyguards emerged from the shadows and dragged Lan away, even from far away. I heard his anguished screams outside. 10 minutes later, one of the bodyguards returned and respectfully reported to Shen Buyu. Boss, his face has been taken care of. Should we deal with him the same way as before? Faced with the bodyguard's question, Shen Buyu remained expressionless, without the slightest reaction. I hid under the table, trying my best to go unnoticed. After watching the whole show with me, the system kindly warned me. Host, I just found out that before in Lan, 5 people had plastic surgery to look like you and approached Shen Buyu. They all met the same fate. They vanished without warning and were never heard from again. But according to the system's data, 4 of them are already dead. The only one left is in Africa, in a dazed mental state. He must have gone mad. Hearing that, I immediately began to tremble. Hadn't I specifically told her to be a good person? Because she certainly didn't seem like one. Before I could keep complaining, I saw Shen Buyu slowly walking toward the table where I was hiding. Listening to her footsteps, I frantically chanted in my mind, "You can't see me. Don't come over here." Of course, my prayers didn't work. After I felt a cold breeze brush over the crown of my head, the table was overturned by the bodyguards. Someone dragged me out. I lifted my head and met Shen Buyu's icy eyes. "That face of yours looks quite like his too." At her words, I swallowed. "Miss, I think you've mistaken me for someone else." Taking advantage of Shen Buyu's momentary distraction, I turned and ran. But before I had taken more than a few steps, someone yanked me back. Shen Buyu grabbed my wrist, pressed it against my chest, and leaned into my arms, just as I thought she would, as she had before. Hold me and cry her heart out. The system issued a warning. Host, I think you're getting your hopes up. Shen Buyu's favorability toward you has reached negative 9,999. In theory, once redeemed, she shouldn't turn dark again. But with your negative favorability score, you've already gone below the minimum. Sure enough, before the system could finish, Shen Buyu wrapped her arms around my neck. Fangs, you, I really suspect you don't have a heart at all. You were leaving to return to your own world. Couldn't you have told me openly? Do you know what day it was when you disappeared? It was my birthday. When I woke up that morning, you said you dreamed of marrying me, so I hurried out to pick out a diamond ring for you. I even prepared flowers, but on my way back, they told me the yacht you were on had an accident. There were 5 people aboard, and you were the only one who died. Do you know how desperate I was? On my way to find you, I stumbled and fell several times. When I finally reached the scene, I discovered that the ring had mysteriously disappeared. For a while, I even hated myself. I thought I wasn't good enough, that I didn't earn enough money. That was why you gave me the "you're a good person" speech before leaving without a word. But later, I found out that you had a system. From the very beginning, you never intended to marry me. I was just one of your missions. You cruelly made me fall in love with you, then walked away without a care. The sob in her voice made my heart ache. I reached out to touch her face, but my arm was pinned down. Shen Buyu sobbed and threw herself against me. I hate you so much. Fangs, you. It doesn't matter if I can't make you stay. What about a child? If we had a child, you wouldn't have the heart to abandon her, would you? Her actions startled me. I immediately shouted at the system in my mind. System, save me. I'm here. Host, don't worry, host. I've thoughtfully adjusted your physical sensitivity to the highest level. Now, you can enjoy yourself. Hearing the system's gleeful tone, I thought of 10,000 filthy curses for it. But because of Shen Buyu, I couldn't say a single one aloud. I don't know how much time passed. Shen Buyu emerged from the bathroom. She lay down beside me and had the fresh outfits brought in. Don't worry, I won't get pregnant. I took a pill. Hearing that, I was surprised. I opened my mouth, but didn't know what to say. I turned my head and met Shen Buyu's gaze. She tugged bitterly at the corner of her mouth. I know. Fangs, you don't want to have children with me, and you never plan on having a future with me. As Shen Buyu spoke, she walked to the window. Then, she tossed me a black card. Go. This card has no spending limit. You'll never spend it all. Can you take it back to your world? If you can't, I'll think of something else. At that, I hurried to explain. Shen Buyu, you've misunderstood. This time, I didn't plan to walk away without a word. I understand. You have a new mission. Who are you going to redeem this time? Will you treat her the way you once treated me? Then, just as you abandoned me, you'll abandon her too. That's not it. So, you won't abandon her. The only trash you're desperate to throw away is me, Shen Buyu. Hearing Shen Buyu say that, I tried to explain, but just then, hurry. Host, find a way to fix this now. Shen Buyu's favorability has begun dropping off a cliff. It's at negative 1,000 now. If it keeps falling, she'll turn dark again. At that, I silently cursed, then strode straight over to Shen Buyu, cupped her cheeks, and kissed her directly. My wife, kiss me. I'm not going anywhere. I only love you. Holy hell, host. Favorability is at 99. I was just about to breathe a sigh of relief, when the next second, the system began screaming again. Wait, am I glitching? Why did the favorability drop to 1 again? Host, I want to report Shen Buyu. She's manipulating the score. She is blatantly manipulating it. Seeing me continue, the system only had time to say, wait, what? How are you two at it again? Then, it disappeared. In the end, I was so exhausted that I fell asleep. I had a strange dream. I dreamed that Shen Buyu had founded a research team. Every night, she sat in the rented apartment where we once lived and spoke to the stars filling the night sky. At first, she would say, Fangs, you, is your world inside one of the stars up there? Everyone thought I was a rich fool, wasting tens of billions researching how to travel between worlds. I kept telling myself that if I spent it all and still couldn't find you, I'd die. Yet I couldn't accept that. So I wanted to earn more money and keep searching for you without giving up until the day I could no longer open my eyes. Why wouldn't you even say goodbye to me? On countless nights afterward, Shen Buyu spoke less and less. There were more and more empty bottles of liquor. When I woke again, I felt as though my body had gone numb. Host, Shen Buyu's favorability has risen to negative 99. You've taken an epic step forward. I rubbed my aching lower back and considered how to continue winning her over. I had to admit, Shen Buyu really made things easy for me. After that day, she and I tacitly stopped mentioning my disappearance 7 years ago. The system's verdict was, Host, Now I know why your redemption mission succeeded. You relied entirely on her winning herself over. That said, Shen Buyu still forced me to keep busy. She forced me to go to the company and work as her secretary. Then she shamelessly said, "This is how you should make it up to me." So, every day, outside her office, I held a sheet of paper and scribbled on it. She made me design a ring myself for an important purpose later. The problem was, I had no idea how to design one. Besides, while sitting outside her office, I often overheard private conversations. The most memorable was someone trying to flatter Shen Buyu, who invited her out for some excitement that night. Shen Buyu glanced my way and whispered something. The next second, the man immediately lowered his head and apologized. I had the system eavesdrop on them and learned Shen Buyu had said, "My husband is sitting right outside. You're saying this to me. Are you trying to get yourself killed?" So, when Shen Buyu came out, I propped up my chin and watched her intently with a faint smile. Shen Buyu paused, then explained coldly, "Don't read too much into it. I didn't mean anything else. I just wanted you to ward off unwanted suitors." Fangs, you don't think I have no self-respect? That I would still risk everything to love you, do you? I never said that. The system chimed in inside my head. You didn't say it. But I think she's right. These past few days, I had been living with Shen Buyu. Shen Buyu's housekeeper was quick to make friends, and soon we were chatting away. One day, she and I sat on the steps, cracking sunflower seeds. Suddenly, she sighed, "Mr. Fang, there's something you don't know. Before you came, Miss Shen had it for a long time." Housekeeper, I get it. You're trying to say, before I came, Shen Buyu hadn't smiled in a long time. Ha, I knew I had charm. At my words, the housekeeper froze. No, Mr. Fang, what I meant was, before you came, Miss Shen hadn't suffered insomnia in a long time. Since you arrived, not only has her insomnia returned, it's worse than before. Every hour, she secretly gets out of bed, walks barefoot to your door, opens it a crack, and checks whether you've run away. To tell you the truth, Miss Shen told me to watch you and make sure you don't escape. Hearing that, I was stunned, then gave an awkward laugh. She still cares about me that much. The housekeeper gave me a suspicious look. Mr. Fang, Miss Shen says you stole something precious from her. She told me to keep a close eye on you. I really didn't steal anything, but as I hurried to deny it, the housekeeper's phone suddenly rang. You are the thief. Hearing it, I gave an embarrassed twitch of my lips. Housekeeper, that's quite a trendy ringtone. Miss Shen specifically set this as my ringtone this morning. She said this song was good and told me to listen to it more often. The more the housekeeper spoke, the more I felt Shen Buyu was clearly calling me out. At midnight, I was too hungry to sleep. Just as I was growing irritated and restless, a call came in. It was Shen Buyu. Shen Buyu, what do you want? After a brief silence, she spoke. I can't sleep. Keep me company. How? It's the middle of the night. Do you expect me to ride my little scooter across half the city to find you? Open the door. I'm outside. The moment she said that, I sprang out of bed and walked outside barefoot. I saw Shen Buyu carrying bags of barbecue and looking thoroughly disgusted, handed them to me. I found it on the road. Are you eating it or not? If not, I'll throw it away. Just like that, my anger vanished. She still remembered barbecue was my favorite late-night snack. As I ate, the spice had me gasping and desperately craving an ice-cold herbal tea. Just then, Shen Buyu, standing beside me, somehow produced a can of ice-cold herbal tea. I thanked her and reached for it, but she pulled it away. Is that all? Nothing else you want to say? You know that's not what I want to hear. Thank you, baby. Not that. Then, thank you, wife. You don't mean it. Like I'm forcing you to say it. Hearing that, I fought the urge to rush over and punch her. Keeping my patience, I looked at her with complete sincerity. Thank you, wife. Only then did Shen Buyu nod slightly. I knew you'd always wanted to call me that, didn't you? Fangs, you. My hand froze as I ate grilled squid. For no reason at all. I really wanted to laugh. These past few days, I did as Shen Buyu told me and worked at Shen Group. It was like any other day. I was slacking off at my desk, watching a show, when suddenly, the system popped up. It warned me, "Host, hurry and check Shen Buyu's office." What is it? You sound like you're up to something. As I spoke, I walked to her office door. After knocking, Shen Buyu told me to come in. I had no idea until I looked, and what I saw shocked me. She was talking to Inlan, whose face was covered in scars. When Inlan saw me, he immediately turned to leave. As we passed each other, he suddenly said through gritted teeth, "Do you know who I am?" So, what if you're back? I'll make Shen Buyu mine. I'll make her regret ruining my face. And I'll make you suffer worse than I do now. Come on, man. You're the one who got surgery to look like me. Ignoring him, I asked the system directly. Who exactly is this guy? Why is he so arrogant? I really want to smack him. Hello, host. And Lan is actually this novel's male lead. In the original plot, after the heroine broke his heart, Shen Buyu, the villainous supporting heroine, was supposed to become his rebound. But because of you, Shen Buyu won't do that. So Lan and the heroine can't get back together. I've noticed Lan is extremely hostile toward you. He may interfere with your mission later. I shrugged, completely unconcerned. Once inside, I took a seat at Shen Buyu's desk. Baby, what were you talking about with Lan? Want to know? Forget it. I suddenly don't want to know anymore. With that, I turned to leave. But the next second, Shen Buyu suddenly grabbed my hand. She said you came back this time just to toy with me again. I said, whatever you think. I don't mind being played by you. A few days later, on Chinese Valentine's Day, the butler and I secretly planned to turn one room in the house into a hospital-themed escape room haunted house. When she saw the finished room, the butler looked concerned. Sir, is this really where you and Miss Shen had your romantic first meeting? Facing her doubts, I patted my chest confidently. Of course, back then, your Miss Shen was still a student who had not graduated, working a summer job as a haunted house actor. The terrifying sound effects sent her running wildly through the place and accidentally crashed into me. In that dark, cramped room, Shen Buyu's steadily rising body heat became something I'll never forget. Seeing the butler's curious eyes, I cleared my throat twice and ended the subject. Actually, I meant this to be a surprise for Shen Buyu. So, we could finish what we never did back then. A reclining chair, stethoscope, white coat, patient gown. It had everything. Before I could think any further, there was a knock at the door. Guessing Shen Buyu was home, I beat the butler to it and ran to open the door for her. Then, I gave Shen Buyu a hug. After accepting my hug, she raised an eyebrow the next second and scrutinized me from head to toe. What guilty thing have you done behind my back now? I haven't done anything. Is that really the kind of man you think I am? After hearing that, Shen Buyu smiled. I'm afraid so. You've got a criminal record with me. I'm still on guard against you every second. You heart-stealing thief. I could only fume in frustration and angrily dragged Shen Buyu upstairs to that room. You'll regret talking to me like that. Shen Buyu, open your eyes and take a good look at the surprise I was going to give you. As I spoke, I pushed open the door. A perfect recreation of that old hospital escape room came into view. Shen Buyu froze. While she was distracted, I grabbed something nearby and restrained her hands. I've changed my mind. I'll be the doctor now. You'll be the patient. You, lie down in that chair. Just like I did back then. Shen Buyu did not move. Her brows were tightly furrowed. Seeing her like that, my heart sank. Had my good intentions done more harm than good? Did Shen Buyu actually hate this? I hurriedly asked the system about Shen Buyu's current affection level toward me. The system checked. No change. It's still 80. Then what's wrong? Wait. I know. With that, I quickly lay down on it and nodded at Shen Buyu. All right, I'll be the patient after all. You be the doctor. Shen Buyu looked over. Her gaze seemed a little different from before. Then, I sighed. See, I really do know you best. Shen Buyu, you should reflect on yourself. Besides me, who else would spoil you like this? Shen Buyu picked up the stethoscope and walked toward me, just as it was about to touch my skin. Suddenly, she stopped. I looked up at her. Her eyelashes were trembling. Her face was pale. Fang's you. I don't remember. It's okay. Just improvise. It was so dark then. It's normal not to remember the order of things. At my reassurance, Shen Buyu suddenly seemed utterly at a loss. Fang's you. I just tried to recall the past, and so many memories involving you are gone from my mind. I can barely remember where we went last week. Shen Buyu was beginning to lose her memory. More precisely, she was gradually forgetting our past together. I started to panic, but Shen Buyu quickly calmed down. You know what's happening, don't you? Tell me, is there any way to fix it? Or is this another trick you've planned to leave me? The first time, you made me wait 7 years. This time, you're just making me forget you altogether. Baby, don't I even have the right to remember you? The more I heard, the angrier I became. Finally, I covered Shen Buyu's mouth and blurted everything out. That's bullshit. I'm not letting you forget me. And Lan, remember him? He's another mission runner. But for some reason, he can tamper with the system's code, like a Trojan virus, spreading through everything. Now, he's invading your memories, the system, and I still don't know how to get rid of him, other than being unable to remember things. Do you have any other symptoms? At that, Shen Buyu suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. She simply said, oh. Then, a faint smile appeared on her face. Seeing that smile, I felt Shen Buyu had only heard the part where I said I wouldn't let her forget me, while the system and I discussed how to deal with Lan. Shen Buyu waved a hand. So, what if I forget? I can make more memories with you. She pulled me to my feet and quickly took me to another property she owned. The door code was my birthday. Inside was an enormous single-level apartment. I looked around and realized that from every angle, this place looked just like the home Shen Buyu and I dreamed of sharing after marriage 7 years ago. In that instant, I felt guilty again. Shen seemed to see right through me and deliberately jabbed at me. This is a place full of painful memories for me. Baby, do you know it stood empty for 7 whole years without a single visitor? I hurriedly found something to say. To change the subject, let's get same-day delivery and buy some things you like, along with stuffed animals, to decorate the place. Alright. Before long, the once empty apartment was filled with our creations. Shen looked around with satisfaction, then walked back to me. Are you trying to leave your mark all over my home? Is that not allowed? Of course it is. Then, she turned off the living room lights, and darkness surrounded us. Suddenly, I heard clothes being shed behind me. I was pushed against the glass. The icy surface made me shudder. You are moving a little fast. Someone might see us. Then let them see. Let everyone see that you are mine. No one can take you away. Alright, baby. Although Shen and I kept making new memories, her memory loss was growing worse. Even after having the system exchange for a memory drive to store our memories and implant them back into her every day. The memories were implanted one moment and forgotten the next, the system said. And Lan had altered Shen programming. The moment she came into contact with anything related to me, her mind would automatically reject it. No matter how many times we implanted the memories, it was all in vain. Gradually, Shen could no longer remember my birthday or our plans to go to the movies. I grew more frantic by the day, because ever since the system said it would find a solution, it had not appeared for the whole weeks. But in Lan, appeared again. He would occasionally pose as a stranger in Shen in my world. At first, Shen still remembered her past with Lan. But later, not only did she forget, she inexplicably began to like him. She would even unconsciously let a few words of praise for Lan slip out. Because of this, I could only tell Shen and Lan's true identity again and again. Fortunately, she would firmly squeeze my hand each time. Fangs you, even though I don't remember, I will always believe your words. I was deeply moved, while silently praying for the system to return soon. But before the system came back, Shen was the one who broke up with me first. She stared at me without expression, like a thoughtless puppet. My heart broke for her. I held her and refused to let go. Then, she hugged me back. I saw her grit her teeth, as if fighting an invisible force. Her muscle memory made her embrace me instinctively. In the end, she bit down so hard she drew blood. I could not bear to see it, so I let her go. A few seconds later, Shen walked away without looking back. She did not turn around until she reached the door. Then she stiffly turned around and gave me a hurried glance. That one look sent my tears streaming. I knew she could not leave me behind, so I secretly followed her. She walked very slowly, and I followed her without difficulty, all the way to an abandoned auto plant. The place was filthy and chaotic, with trash and discarded gasoline cans everywhere. I hid behind a pile of discarded tires and saw Lan emerge from a makeshift corrugated metal shack. His face was twisted with rage, and a sinister smile pulled at the corner of his mouth. Just as he reached out to hug Shen she dodged him. Her movement provoked Lan, and he instantly flew into a rage. He practically roared, "Shen even if you still have a shred of sanity left to resist, it is useless. Unless I die, you will become my toy sooner or later." Hearing this, my eyelids twitched, and a plan began to form in my mind. I crouched here in ambush, waiting for him to come out. I figured that as soon as Lan came out, I would drive over him. But for a full 15 minutes, neither of them came out. Shen was alone in there with him. I was afraid to imagine what Lan might have done to her. Finally, after another 5 minutes, Lan ran out, clutching his neck. Shen was covered in injuries. Even her face bore several wounds. Shen followed behind Lan. Her face was deathly pale, and she looked ready to collapse at any moment. Lan, meanwhile, looked dazed, as if he had suffered a tremendous shock. "Shen you are insane. For Fangs you truly will do anything, and dare anything. Fangs slept with you, then abandoned you. Was waiting 7 years not enough? Did you never think of taking revenge on him? I am the male lead of this story. You were born to love me. Do you understand?" He had not gone far. When Lan stopped, he turned around, and, seeing Shen battered state, tugged his lips into a mocking smile. "You still want to resist me? Fine. Then wait for your punishment and die in agony." Shen was about to do something when she suddenly vomited blood and passed out, and Lan glared viciously at her fallen body, then turned and walked away. At almost the same moment, I rushed to Shen When she heard my footsteps, she struggled to open her eyes. "Baby, he cannot do anything. I will always be yours alone." Hearing this, my tears began to flow uncontrollably. But just then, a pair of high beams suddenly shone on us, followed by the roar of an engine, and in Lan's hysterical laughter. "You finally came. Fangs I understand now. Only if you die will she fall in love with me again." While he muttered to himself, I held Shen and slowly moved half a step back, but Lan showed no sign of stopping. growing more agitated with every word. Fangs you. If you did not exist, why would I have been left unwanted after the heroine abandoned me? Shen Buyu is the supporting female character created especially for me. Only if she and I get together will the heroine regret it and come back to pursue me. Why did you have to save her? She was only ever my tool, and that damn system of yours actually thought it could oppose me. It is only a string of data with no physical form. I barely moved a finger and permanently erased it. This is all your fault. You ruin everything, since you two love each other so much. In the next instant, and Lan slammed his foot on the accelerator, and the off-road vehicle charged straight at us. At the last possible moment, I scooped up Shen Buyu and rolled with her to the side. Immediately afterward, a tremendous crash rang out nearby, and Lan's car slammed violently into a wall. Fuel began leaking from the car, and there were faint signs it might explode, and Lan pulled open the door and tried to escape. But just then, I saw Shen Buyu forcing herself through the pain as she staggered to her feet. Realizing what she intended to do, I immediately reached out to stop her, but Shen Buyu pushed my hand away and told me firmly, "Fangs you are the one who must not go over there." And Lan said, "If a player fails their mission or dies in this world because of an accident, you will never be able to return. Before your system disappeared, it told me to protect you properly. Your mission has already been completed. It already filed your request to leave this world." Before I could react, Shen Buyu had already run to the car. She pressed her entire body against Lan, pinning him inside the car, stopping him from escaping. Seeing what she did, and Lan shouted desperately, "Shen Buyu, you are insane. You will die too." But I did not care what Lan was saying. I only focused on running toward her. On the way, I clearly saw Shen Buyu suddenly smile. Then, she threw the ring in her hand. I instinctively reached out and caught it, only to discover that the ring was exactly like the rough sketch I had drawn. At that very moment, my phone suddenly rang. "When you read these words, something may have happened to me, but do not worry, because this proves that you are still alive. You drew this ring yourself, so you are not allowed to say you dislike it anymore. I wanted to save it so we could get married, but I feel I will not get the chance. I remember. You can take the ring back to your world. So, could you please take it back with you? Just pretend. I will always be by your side, alright? The truth is, I have always loved you. I knew that I was the target of your mission, to make my affection for you reach 100%. So I kept trying my hardest, not to let it reach 100%. Do you know how difficult that was? Forget it. Now, I only hope you can live more happily in a world without me. Honey, I love you." When I reached the end, I could no longer hold back my tears, and they fell straight onto the screen, because I knew it was already too late. With a deafening boom inside my mind, the electronic voice sounded again. "Congratulations, host. You have completed the mission. Target Shen Buyu's affection, 999,999. The bonus has been issued. This world has been erased. The host will now be transported back to the original world. Please wait." In the blink of an eye, I suddenly opened my eyes and climbed out of bed. The midday sunlight was warm, but on my face, 2 trails of tears had yet to dry. The massive explosion seemed like nothing more than a nightmare, but the bank notification confirming a deposit of 10 million proved that those scenes had been real. But that world had vanished and collapsed, and I would never see Shen Buyu again. This was probably the first time I had ever felt such sorrow. It felt as though my heart were being torn apart. Even my neighbor came to kindly knock on my door and ask what had happened. I frantically wiped at my tears, but no matter how much I wiped, they would not stop. I drifted through the next week in a fog. That entire week, I could barely even get out of bed. That afternoon, I was still drowning in grief and did not want to do anything. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. I walked to the door and saw a woman in a dress. She stroked the kitten in her arms while complaining to me, "Your system is completely unreliable. It sent me to 10 wrong houses before I finally found the right one." Seeing this scene, I widened my eyes in disbelief. Even the arm I used to brace myself against the door began to shake. "Shen Buyu, is that you?" The woman raised her head, revealing the face I longed for day and night. So, I immediately rushed forward and pulled her into my arms. Shen Buyu froze, then almost instantly tossed the kitten onto the floor and hugged me back. "This is the first time you have ever been so affectionate with me. You are not already thinking about how to get rid of me again, are you? You are so heartless. Do you know how hard the system and I worked to find this place? If you are going to dump me, could you at least wait 2 days until we know our way around?" My tears began to flow again. After holding Shen Buyu even tighter, I finally managed to speak. "I will never leave you again. Shen Buyu, let us spend the rest of our lives together." Shen Buyu chuckled softly, then laced her fingers through mine. "Did you hear that? My husband said he wants to spend his life with me. He never said he wanted to spend it with you." Hearing Shen Buyu's words, the kitten at our feet suddenly stopped spinning in circles. It lifted its head and gave me a resentful look, then began to meow. "What about me? What am I after willingly becoming a cat for you. I suppose being an adorable kitten counts for something.